Everything you love about mornings, the comfort of setting the alarm a little too early, the smell of coffee brewing, the soft light filtering through the curtains, the small routines that feel stable and warm, the mug in your hand, the screen flickering to life, your favourite chair or couch, the familiar banter of hosts you've come to feel like friends. Morning TV is more than just entertainment. It's a companion to so many, a morning unlike any other. When the laughter stopped on Live with Kelly and Mark, mornings had always been this way. Kelly Ripa's laugh would warm up the studio. Mark Consuelo's would tease her in that way only they could. Small stories from their home, updates about the kids, a sense of lightness breaking through the routine of the day. Over more than 2 decades, viewers have come to expect it. The jokes, the spontaneous laughter, the little moments of warmth that transform a sometimes cold, hectic morning into something gentle and human. But one morning in September, without warning, the light dimmed. The jokes stopped. The laughter ceased. Something changed. Someone shifted. The energy in the studio, normally vibrant and confident, felt fragile. A hush settled in the air even before Kelly said a word. Something was different. A farewell unscripted. That morning, viewers noticed first Kelly's smile was more delicate, less sure. Her eyes, usually bright and dancing with mischief, carried a sheen of something heavier. Mark too, who often leaned into confident energy, seemed more reserved, his posture taut, his expression measured. And then, live on air, Kelly Ripa began to cry. The studio paused along with the audience at home. If the cameras could capture the collective intake of breath, they did. Silence grew, thick and profound. For many, this wasn't just a moment of sadness. It felt like witnessing something sacred. People watching from kitchens, bedrooms, cars, or offices leaned closer to their screens. We all wondered, is this goodbye? Is something more serious going on? When someone you've seen every morning starts to tear up for reasons you can almost guess but almost don't want to ask, it cuts deeper. Decades of love, struggles, triumphs. To understand why this moment resonated so powerfully, you have to go back, way back. Before podcasts, before social media, before the ever-turning cycle of breaking news. To 1995, when Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos first met on the set of All My Children. Young, ambitious, hopeful. 2 souls drawn together by more than just shared scenes. By a spark many spoke of, but few saw until much later. They married quietly, a little off the radar, in Las Vegas. Some said quick, some said impulsive. But those who knew them knew it felt right. From then on, they built something rare in Hollywood, a marriage that wasn't just about appearances, but about mutual respect, deep friendship, shared dreams. They welcomed their children, Michael, Lola, Joaquin, and navigated the highs and lows of careers under the glare of public scrutiny. Kelly grew into a television icon, witty, sharp, warm, irrepressible. Mark built his own body of work. They supported one another through challenging professional decisions, the birth of their children, difficult personal moments. They laughed together, argued, recovered. They were, in many ways, the kind of couple people believed in. So when Kelly stood there that morning, tears leaking through the usual composure, everyone felt the weight, not just of the moment, but of the years behind it. It was farewell, yes, but farewell built on a foundation of 20-plus years of partnership. The moment of goodbye. Live television gives no room to hide. No breaks, no edit, no rewind. And so, as Kelly's voice cracked, as her hands curled together, the audience, on set and at home, watched everything. Not just the falter in her words, but the way she fought for composure, the way she tried to inhale through sadness, the way her voice shook. "This isn't easy for me," she began. Fingers clasped tight, her body taut with the effort of staying upright emotionally. "Mark has been my rock," she continued, each word tender, fragile. The stage lights felt harsher now, as if magnifying every emotion. She spoke of life shared, the messiness and the joy, the daily grind, the jokes in green room corners, the mornings where nothing seemed special except being together. It was personal, raw, courageously so. And there stood Mark, beside her. No flamboyant gestures, no deflections, just holding her hand. His presence said everything his words did not. His eyes, maybe glistening too, spoke of shared history, of love, strong enough to survive this moment. He didn't drag the mood into banter. He held space. He gave Kelly strength just by being there. Why it cut. So deep, people weren't shocked just because a host cried. Thousands of people have cried on screen, but this felt different. This felt like the closing of a chapter, not merely a scene change, but the end of something people thought was steady and permanent. Live with Kelly and Mark had become more than a show. It was ritual, a source of stability, a comforting voice in chaotic times. Kelly and Mark's marriage was part of that comfort, trustworthy, familiar, sincere. Viewers had followed not just the public moments, but the small ones. Stories of parenting, of family vacations, behind-the-scenes gaffes. They had watched Kelly grow, watched Mark evolve, seen them endure. When that facade of everyday normalcy cracked, it revealed something raw. Grief, change, loss. And we felt it. Many fans remarked, "I feel like we're losing a piece of our mornings too." It's that intimacy, that sense of connection that made the moment so profound. When Kelly wept, many of us felt we wept with her. The power of vulnerability. In a world where public figures are often edited, polished, and distant, vulnerability is rare. Most times, tears are edited out or swept aside, but this time Kelly didn't hide. She didn't step away. She didn't finish the show behind closed doors. She cried in full view. Her voice cracked. She paused. She leaned into the moment instead of shutting it down. And that made all the difference. That kind of honesty reminds us that everyone, even those who seem strong, can tremble. Vulnerability isn't weakness. Sometimes it is love or too much love, spilling over. Sometimes it is grief that demands to be seen, and sometimes letting it be seen helps others feel less alone. Mark's action, just taking her hand, letting her cry, taught another lesson. In love, words are not always necessary. Presence is enough. Reactions. Across the airwaves and beyond. As the broadcast ended, the audience on set erupting into applause felt less like celebration and more like gratitude. Gratitude for having witnessed something real. Fans at home flooded social media. Posts, tweets, IG stories. "First time I cried to morning TV. Kelly, thank you for being you." Seeing Mark beside her, that's love. Harrowing to see perhaps, but deeply moving. Long-time viewers, especially those who had grown up with Kelly and Mark as staples in their homes, wrote that this felt like the world shifting slightly. Not negatively, but irrevocably. That mornings after this wouldn't quite have the same soundtrack. People in their 50s, 60s, 70s shared memories. Seeing Kelly as a young actress, watching Mark in early roles. For many, their lives had included Live with Kelly and Mark as a constant. And so this goodbye wasn't just theirs. It was ours. Celebrities too offered tributes. Fellow hosts, actors, writers, messages of love, personal stories of how Kelly and Mark had inspired them, how they'd made them laugh, be honest, be kinder to others. The moment had ripples. More than a farewell. Goodbyes are usually simple things. One stage exit, one final wave. But this felt more like the wrapping of a book, the closing of a window, the end of a season. Kelly's words spoke of endings, but also beginnings, of transformation, of changing shape, not disappearing. "This isn't the end," she said, tears still in her voice. "It's change." And change does not erase love. Mark's hand holding, his steady gaze, these small gestures anchored the moment. They said, "The love we built doesn't vanish just because things shift. The partnership, the history, the laughter, the pain, they remain." Reflections. What we learn when goodbyes are real. From this scene, there are things we can carry away. Gratitude for everyday moments. So often, the smallest moments are the most precious. Morning routines, hugs, jokes. When they're gone, we miss them more than we expect. Courage to be vulnerable. Kelly's tears reminded us that being public doesn't have to mean being unfeeling. Strength can be just allowing the truth of what you feel. Love's power beyond performance. The way Mark simply stood there, didn't try to fix the moment, just held her. That presence matters. Legacy and consistency. Kelly and Mark's decades together built trust with audiences. That trust made this moment heartbreaking and beautiful. Shared grief as connection. Because many watching had similar farewells in their lives, losses, endings, transitions, this moment became mirror comfort, shared catharsis.